It's time for Where You Live with Gene and Tony, the show that's all about owning, buying, selling, renting, and association management. If it involves a home, we'll talk about it. Here's your chance to get your homeowner questions answered. From the Concierge Landscape Studios, here's Gene and Tony.
Needed the shelter of someone's arms, and there you were. Needed someone to understand my ups.
Good morning and welcome to Where You Live with Gene and Tony. I'm Gene Sullivan.
And I'm Tony Crockett. How are you doing, Gene?
I'm doing great.
Good.
And folks, it's great to have you with us on this wonderful Sunday morning. We're broadcasting from the Concierge Landscape Studios. We're brought to you this hour by Extreme Exteriors and American Family Insurance, the Kim Bennett Agency. What's on the menu today for today's show, you asked?
Exactly what I was going to ask.
You were?
I was going to ask that.
Well, we are going to be dealing with a management company that said to all of the owners living in a condominium, leave the building for a couple of days and don't come back. Or if you stay, don't even leave your unit.
Wow.
What is that all about? We'll let you know in just a little bit. We've got a lot of questions from listeners that we're going to be addressing. And we're also a little bit later in the show, if you recall last week, we talked about the ADA ruling as it pertains to swimming pools, stating that all public pools are now going to be required to have lifts and ramps installed to the tune of thousands of dollars, and that could include all condo associations too. We've got some more information on that I think will be very helpful. But let's begin, as always, with property management in the news. Property management in the news is brought to you by Pest Control Services. When you need to get rid of unwanted pests in your home or rental property, call someone who is responsive, professional, and a proud member of Angie's List. Give owner Greg Keener a call at 952-894-9748. Pest Control Services. And we'll begin with a tape that we've had prepared for you. Eric?
Some residents are being warned to get out of town before the NATO summit starts. Darlene Hill has our report live from the South Loop. Darlene?
Yeah, Bob, that warning came by this piece of paper here. It reads, the revolving door will be locked on Friday. The rooftop terrace, theater room, and hospitality suites will be closed. Well, it's a yellow memo. Some residents say they saw it on their mailbox, and they saw red.
I can't just leave my garage whenever I want. They're holding us hostage in here.
Sabina Kreidlinger lives in a condo at the Library Tower. It's a 17-floor building in the South Loop on State Street between Harrison and Congress. It's a busy area, lots of businesses and colleges and a high school all within a couple of blocks of each other. People who live in the Library Tower, though, say they're used to it all until earlier this week when each resident got this memo in their mailbox, letting them know what they can and cannot do while the NATO summit is taking place in Chicago, May 19th through the 21st.
I think they've got everyone's best interest in mind. It's just pretty kind of shocking to see. I had no idea this was going to be happening that weekend, and so it's pretty alarming to know it could be that scary in your own home.
The memo states that management strongly recommends finding alternative places to stay during the conference.
I think that's a big problem because this is where we live, and everyone doesn't have the opportunity or possibly can't afford to go stay somewhere else. It's a real problem.
Management strongly recommends that residents have no guests that weekend. Each time residents enter, their identifications will be checked, and no one will be allowed to move into the building or have packages delivered. While some residents are ticked off, others say it's all about safety.
They're only suggesting that.
I want to be able to come and go whenever I need to.
Changes because during the summit, protesters will hold a rally at the Petrillo Bandshell, and their march will have them in front of the Library Tower. Those protests in other cities have turned very violent.
Now,
And we're back out here live tonight at State and Harrison. We tried getting in touch with the management department of that building, and they did not want to talk to us on camera. I did, though, Bob, call around to a couple of the other mid-rises and high-rises here in the South Loop, and they tell me they're pretty much doing the same thing. They say it's all about safety. They don't, of course, want any problems, and they don't want, of course, to deal with any of some of the other stuff going around the weekend of the summit. So they say they're trying to do what's best for the building as well as their residents who live in them. Back to you in the studio.
And that from Fox News Channel 32, Chicago, Illinois, just a few days ago.
Well, I haven't had to deal with this issue. Have you?
No,
the fear of riots in the streets. They really didn't. I don't think they mentioned in that clip the fact that they're expecting rioting in the streets from these NATO protesters, because that's what they've experienced in other cities.
And that's the whole reason for
That's right.
For this action, or at least encouragement.
This advice from management, and it's kind of like they just completely, or maybe we missed the first part of the story, but that's exactly what they're saying. In other cities where this NATO conference was held, these protesters rioted violently in the streets, and they're trying to protect their residents by saying, you know what, it would be best if you just left, because if we have to lock the doors for security reasons, you can't come and go.
Yep.
Right?
And it certainly makes sense to me, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. But it's kind of typical that everyone's going to blame management for the problem.
Yeah,
isn't it?
That's spoken with someone who has some years of experience. I think.
Yeah.
So I think we hadn't heard that from any voice from residents that were interviewed. There was like 2 or 3. I think.
That's true. That's true.
And that was good. That was good to see.
That's true. It seems the residents understood the situation.
Yes, but from time to time, there are things that come up that are going to be beyond the control.
That's right.
And of the management company, of the homeowner association.
That's right.
And it's good when people can understand that and realize that there is nothing that the association or management is responsible in doing to fix it, or to make sure that they are not interrupted in any way.
That's right. I have this question. Just how effective are these protests if every city where the NATO conference is held expects rioting and prepares for rioting, and they are displacing people from their homes? Are they really getting their message across by rioting in the streets violently?
Well, I think there are some people that do feel that the end justifies the means.
I'm saying, does the end justify? Are they getting what they want?
I don't think so. I think people lose all credibility.
All I know about these NATO protests is that they're violent and they're rioting in the streets, and that, to me, that sounds bad.
Now, we had something a little bit similar to that a couple years ago when the Republican National Convention was in town too.
Well, similar in that the downtown area was going to be extremely busy. I don't think those Republicans were rioting in the street, were they?
No, not them. But we're talking about other groups that were attracted. It wasn't NATO that was rioting in the street, but the other people that
there were protests during the Republican convention. That's true. I'm wondering, where is the Mahatma Gandhi of this century, who's going to teach us about the value of civil disobedience to bring about revolution?
Where is he? I can tell you one thing. He won't be in Chicago, because otherwise they wouldn't be doing this.
But you know what I'm saying.
Yes.
That was a valuable tool. Perhaps it doesn't work that well anymore. I don't know.
Yeah, well, let's talk about a couple other situations that where it becomes necessary for an association, for the management company, to ask people to move, again, for things that are beyond their control. Yeah. Typically in a condo or a townhome, it could be after a unit fire takes place, even though their unit wasn't destroyed in the flames. The fact that you have a couple units down that are destroyed, it may be that it's unlivable for a while.
It makes the building unsafe.
The elevator, that's a biggie. That's been that one here in Minnesota, right? Because there's that state statute on the...
Well, a lot of elevators have
update of elevators.
That's right. For that state mandated work that can take 6 to 8 weeks.
And you've had that even at your apartment
that's going on.
too, right?
That's going on in all elevators. That's right.
And so, and there's nothing that can be done.
That's right.
And again, it's refreshing when people understand that there are things that are beyond the control.
That's true. But what's, I think, to be praised is that this management company is being proactive, is doing what it can to keep its residents informed. That's what we would do when an elevator is going to be down for service or when there's been damage that makes the building unsafe. You do the best you can to help your residents find help.
Yes. It's not a situation that people like or want, but it's the lesser of all evils.
There you go.
It?
That's right.
Of what it means to be disturbed.
That's right.
But that was property management in the news today. We hope and wish that there's no unsightful, violent rioting that takes place this next month with the NATO summit.
That's right.
But hey, we need to take a break right now. We will be back after these messages.